Okay. Hi, Sonali. Very good afternoon. How
Good
are
afternoon.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. So let's begin our today's interview session for product management role. So can you help me understand, considering that you're working at the moment, so can you help me understand your roles and responsibilities that you're carrying every day?
Sure. So my responsibility starts with I should be able to manage and lead a team of people, whatever project is given. I have to first understand the project, understand what my stakeholder, what my client wants, understand if I can do my input, because whenever a client comes to you and he's like, I want a product A, then why would he come to me? Because I would also give him some extra from my side, from my knowledge. So discussing that, if he wants that extra or they do not want that extra, making my team, brainstorming my team about the project. Firstly, creating a timeline. Either using an agile method or in few projects, there are few projects where waterfall works. So then judging the project, judging what method would work, and then creating a timeline, assigning the work. For an example, if it is an app, then assigning it to the developer, and then designer, app designer, and then creating deadlines for everything. Also simultaneously, along with deadlines, also make sure that your client is reviewing all the stages. So not only have a engineering roadmap for the project, but also a stakeholder roadmap. With every process, he should give me feedback or review whatever work has been done and give his input, so that we are not lacking anywhere and we don't waste time at the end for any addition or any more unsatisfactory method. So that is how I work with my project.
Okay. So, considering your roles and responsibilities, so can you just tell me, why you are so much inclined towards product management? What what is that one thing in product management that really motivates you to get into this role?
Sure. So initially, when I started as a project manager, I had very much similar job, working with Agile, making timeline and making a group. But what lacked was the ownership of the product. Like at every stage, there has to be a permission email or a request email that, I have planned this stage. Now I plan to go ahead tomorrow. And my seniors would have a lot of I won't say excuses, but a lot of is there on their own shoulders, not just my project where I'm working. So that gives me a lot of delay time. That gives me a lot of hold up on one particular process. Whereas as a product manager, it is like I am the CEO of this A product, and not just about delivering the product, but also taking the ownership in market and how I'm going to launch it. So that gives me a bigger vision, a wider experience where I can decide, because if I'm working as a product manager or as a project manager, I know what I'm doing. So that gives me ownership, which I like more. Hence, I was inclined towards product management more.
Okay, all right. So, what all efforts that you are taking to get into this role?
So firstly, I knew that. So according to my knowledge, I thought that there is like no dissimilarity. Everything is similar, but I kept on hearing a lot of things like about mixed panel, how business to business model is created, and etc. So I thought of taking a few mini courses on Udemy and on Coursera. So I finished a course with MIT on project product management, supply chain, etc. But I was not getting that confidence to work in a company as a product manager, and I would probably not have a confidence to sit on this chair right in front of you. So hence, I was like, let us. If I am, quite confident, and if I'm quite sure that I have to enter this field, so I took a boot camp from Brightego Product School on product management, where they explained me in detail, along with few softwares and a lot more concepts. A lot of product managers were part of our team as a mentor, like from Paytm, from Airtel, and a lot more guest lectures. And every time I had the same question, that how do you work as a product manager, and whatever answers they gave me, that has helped me equally like gaining an experience. So it was as equal as gaining an experience sitting on an office desk and working as a product manager. So that gave me a lot of surety of how would I go further.
Okay, yeah, that's really great to know about your journey. So now I have few questions for you. So suppose you have been hired as a product manager in one of the music company. We call it as Wow Music. Okay, and now you have to develop a web application for their organization, for that particular organization. So what will be your strategy in this case? How will you design this new application, a new website for them?
Okay, so considering it is a website, firstly, know what their work so far is, understanding their history, understanding their objective. Because when you open a website, what you want to know is about the company. And similarly, I would like to know what are the client's expectations. Like if they want something different, like achievements and all are there on every website. But if they want something other than that, so I would understand that. I would create a sample model for them. I would assign a developer to me and ask him to firstly create a dummy page, and would discuss more on that with the client, and then create a timeline and go ahead with website designing. Simultaneously, keep on promoting that website so that we have more and more viewers. Arrange for Google Analytics or heat map, so that we know, via heat map, when you go to a website and when you touch or rotate your cursor on those few places, Google Analytics shows red spots. So we will come to know where the client engagement is, or where the user's engagement is. And we understand that user persona, what age people more come to this site, and what are the liking of people that visit the site, and then promote that particular thing more, rather compared to other things. So yeah, that is how I would go.
This is purely a high level overview that you have given me. I would
Okay.
like to understand more on a granular level. Suppose I'm giving you this problem statement. Suppose you are, you have hired as a product manager in this particular team, and now you're preparing this application right from the scratch.
Hmm.
Okay, so what will be your strategy in this case? What parameters that you will understand before you go and to actual product development and all sort of things? I want to understand how will you strategize this in the beginning, right in the beginning.
Okay. Well, I would first understand what this application exactly means. Like when you want to launch, what is the main motive, and why do you want to launch it? And well, if I talk about basics, strategy before giving birth to that product, I think I would think more about marketing it, not to the not just to external clients, but also to the in-home client, like in-house clients. And
But why would you market something well in advance which is not in place? Okay.
well, if I could explain this answer giving an example, uh,
Okay.
so when Savan, the music app, when it was about to get launched, they started its marketing survey, like would you want something with an app, would you? So survey is actually quite boring to some people when they don't know what is the reason behind it. But what it creates is a question mark, like why is it and what is it. And by just putting on social media of different stars, like I remember Ranveer Kapoor was one of the ambassadors, and he did not invest anything in the market, but it was just you know a rumor given that Ranveer Kapoor has invested in some market. So that motivated the users to go more into that direction, like, and wait for the product. Like, what is this product that has been invested in? So I think creating, I would say, a weight in the market of the product would give it more reach.
Okay, so anything else? I mean, I got your point that you will go for marketing, and I will not say marketing, but you will understand the customer's perspective, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
what exactly the customer is inclined towards, what all? I mean, this is what I think that you are trying to convey. So what would be the next step?
well, after understanding what they want, I would have to start with the designing of the product, designing of the app. So I think deciding the look of the app and what features to be shown in priority, and then sitting up with my team and going further with it.
Okay, all right. Um, do you think any other analysis is required in between? Maybe you can give it a thought, take your
Yeah,
time.
yeah. User persona. Mm, maintaining the standards of the product, but again, that would go in the post launch field. Uh,
Okay, so before jumping to designing, maybe anything, any particular thing that you will take into consideration?
before designing,
Yes, because without understanding what you're going to design, okay, how can you design something?
well, of course, creating a flow. After I know what my client wants and how he wants, I would, give him some dummy expertise. Like I could explain him that this particular thing is there in my mind. Uh, Creating a roadmap of it, but before designing of the app, you asked, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. So analyzing and deciding about what and how should we create that app. I mean, planning is the thing that I think should go before designing, planning how the app should be
But
done.
what will include in the planning? Can you help me understand with
Okay,
that?
okay, yeah, sure. So firstly, the look of the app, the content of the app, and then if we are adding any external product feature to the app, all those things, like with the help of a developer, what extra my client would want, what my developer would suggest, because the core team's suggestion is equally important as that of a product manager's view and thinking. So
Okay. Okay. So basically, I'm looking for something else, but all right, not an issue. Maybe I can cover that during the feedback session.
okay.
So moving on to next. So suppose considering that you will continue working on this particular Wow Music web application.
Mhm.
So now you are ready with all your planning, your stories and everything. Okay. So what all approach that you will consider for prioritization of different stories and tasks?
Okay. First and foremost, it would be initial that I have a thorough in-depth knowledge of what the product is, and then communicating with the customer or client what I would use. I could use previous testimonials, concentrate on the positive product features, and how these would benefit them and uh, the other users. Also explain the uh, cost versus benefit element, and yeah,
Okay, so please listen my question carefully. Let me repeat again. So since you are into the phase where you have all the stories are ready with you have Epic with you, now you want to prioritize the task. Now you want to prioritize your work that, or, before that, suppose you have a bunch of work associated to that particular project. How will you make sure that this will go first, this will go second, this will go third? I'm asking in that sense, how will you prioritize your task? Am I audible? Hello? Hello? Sonali, am I audible?
Basically, you are asking me how would I go further with the planning, like step by step. If
Yes.
suppose I'm creating roadmap for this particular app, then how would I go?
Yeah, how will you prioritize that
Okay.
this particular will go first, this particular feature will go second? So that's what we call a prioritization. So how will you prioritize that?
Okay. So firstly, I would collect inputs from my stakeholder and be sure of what they want. So firstly would be to understand what the need of my client is in and out. Then I would create strategies, themes, objective, and discuss the same with my team. Uh, yeah, and then I will determine what the product team actually would be, who all would be included in this product creation, and who would work at what particular task. I would have a front and back team. So the front team would do all the work designing, and the back team would do all the analytics. And how the particular, so basically it's like how front end and back end developers are. So I would create a front end and back end team to have both designing and analytics go hand in hand of the same process. I would set timeline for every task. What task has been assigned today and what should be the timeline, and in case what basically timeline in the sense the completion time, and in case we go delay with something, then how should we cover it, and what all should be the backup plan. Also create a backup plan. Allocate resources, whatever external resources we need from a client. So we can design everything, but what content is to be given had to be given by the client. So allocate all those resources. Provide support to the team members if they need any external resources at the time. Not everything is available with you all the time. So if they need
Basically,
something,
Sonali, sorry to interrupt. So we have certain prioritization techniques that we generally use. So actually, I was looking for that, but no worries. I got your point that you will prioritize based on certain things like timeline and all that. But when it comes to the prioritization, we have some different approach that we need to follow.
okay.
Okay. So my next question to you is that suppose Google Map wants to launch a new version of the Google Map. I mean, Google wants to launch a new version of Google Map for schools. Okay. So how will you design this?
So if it is for schools, that means it should be children friendly, or something that a child could use, or a faculty could use. So I think what they could be looking for is nearby bus stations, nearby pickup points of their own school. So embedding, forwarding my hands to different schools and to collect their data, what could be their bus stop, etc., etc. And the child could select his school or university, and could use the app as per his bus stops, like where could be my school buses, bus stop, etc. So something like that feature could be added. Yeah, this comes to my mind at the very moment. Also, what could I do for school? I think if I could also embed crossing signals. So when you need an elder person to guide you in a few paths, so have an assistant who could warn you of
Okay.
actions or etc.
So, who will be your target users in this case?
Well, target users could be parents, both the parents who are working and have offices and could not, assist their children to school. Plus, wants their kids' safety as well. Also, kids, elderly siblings, because small kids are not going to have mobile phones. So, elderly siblings, bus drivers, so they could have a life tracking. So if a child misses his bus, he could catch it on another pathway or the next stop. And yeah, a few more life tracking systems that everybody could use. So I think faculty, bus drivers, and a little higher grade kids, and both parents working. That would be.
Okay. So these will be your target your user personas.
Yes.
So can you help me understand what all use cases that you will write for these personas?
Sorry, what all?
Use cases that you will write.
Use cases.
Yes. What all features that you will consider?
Okay. Yeah, like I just said, a life tracking system of the school vehicle or walking pathway, embedding signals to it, and faculty approach, like of how a faculty could use it, like in terms of tracking. Suppose the bus is going on a picnic as well, and you have just two teachers, so a principal could keep track of that particular bus, that where is it. Even parents could keep a track of it in case the bus is reaching early to the school, etc. So in that way, so life tracking system would be my main goal.
Okay. So since you are building a new application altogether, so what are features that you will incorporate in the new application, considering we have already Google Map, which is a successfully launched product in the market, and
Mhm.
now you are going to launch a new application altogether for kids or for school. So what all things that you will consider in the new version or new Google Map for kids, which are not there in the existing one?
So a little bit friendly reading, friendly readable or more kids friendly demonstration of the map. Uh, I am 24, but I still fail to understand the direction sometimes with that arrow, whether I have to go left, but sometimes in map you again have to recenter to understand if I actually have to go left or right. Something like that. Also, if it is for kids or if it is for people who are not explored well, because kids have not explored well places. So I think keeping landmarks that are known to the kids, like if I say a kid to turn right from a particular street, he would not know exactly what street it is, but if I say right from the candy shop or right from this particular shop, so he would know that better rather than a particular street. And yeah, I would say a better friendly demonstration of the map for them to easily understand. And yeah, that's what comes to my mind.
Okay, okay, great. All right. So, how will you validate the success that, this particular application is used across by different personas? How will you validate that?
Well, validate in the sense, how would I measure that success if how many.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I think via analytics, a survey could do, like when you install an app or when you are using a similar app. Obviously, my competition would not allow me to put my survey into his application or add as an ad. But what I could do is I could create an unbiased survey that would just ask me their interest and what would lack in that particular system. So I think surveys and analytics on how many people have downloaded and what feature they are using. Um, Also knowing the number of users, like when my users are downloading the app and if they're using particular thing. Uh, so yeah, I think surveys and analytics would do. And
Okay,
then how is my current app reach?
okay, okay, okay. All right. So can you help me understand your favorite product and why it is your favorite?
So I am not that smart to invest in stock market without any guidance. So what is easily understandable to me is currency trading, investing in currency, different currencies. So there is this app called Grow Money where you could invest in bitcoins, in currencies, and in stocks, and they give you a graph. So when you click on a stock, they give you a graph and they give you future protection percentage. Firstly, nowadays, every influencer and everybody is promoting Bitcoin, and now even Dogecoin has come. So all these coins are promoting it so much that everybody is into it, but not everybody is into stocks, and stocks are really easier and faster money and good investment because they are actual working companies. So I think Grow Money is my favorite app that gives me access to not just one but multiple level investments. So I could get information, get advice, the computer algorithms advice in all things like coins, currencies, and stocks.
Okay, got it. So if at all, given a chance, if at all you want to improve something in that product, what it will be?
Well, when I want to sign in with such apps, they give me a long step. There is this huge procedure of things to download, things to upload. So that kind of loosens my interest in the app. So of course, I know that you have to validate yourself and connect to some bank account and etc. But I think that point is some where that point is where it loses some users because not everybody finds it safe enough to connect to a bank, or not everybody is educated enough to upload, or if you just have the myth that it would be a scam. So I think creating an app that is wallet friendly, you put some money from your debit card and you just work on that. So there is no sword on your head that I could lose all the money from a bank account. You don't have to connect it to your bank account. Just give your identity details and then go ahead with it. And you could just
Okay.
add some money and trade on that particular amount.
But don't you think it will be like kind of revenue loss? I mean, consider yourself as a product manager for Grow. Okay. And now you have just mentioned that people don't have enough trust when they ask you for some sensitive information,
True.
right? So when they ask you to upload your data or your Aadhaar card or your bank account, So, I mean, the whole purpose of having that application is just not to check the stock movement, but along with that, you can also track your investment. Okay. I
Yes.
mean, wherever you have invested, you can easily track it through one single application. But since, you're saying that, people are not having enough trust, so that how will you improve that? How will you make that improvement that, you will retain your customer? Because at the end, you're dealing with the revenue and your brand value, right?
Mhm.
So how will you retain that considering yourself as a product manager for Grow?
Well, giving them the liberty to use the app as a pro feature for a particular time, so that they have understood my app, they have understood the pro feature, and they have visited my app enough and earned enough from my app that they could go further. Because when I am doing business, I do not expect people to just trust me blindly. I have to understand what their problem is, and either one has to go a little little down to the graph to then again jump to a higher point. So I think giving them a month of pro membership and giving them that earning, so that in that 1 month they could understand that yes, the subscription would be beneficial, and I could make more amount of money, or I could make better better investments by having this particular feature. So
So,
I think that would
mhm.
gain their trust.
So you will be giving some data, right? You will be giving some graph,
Yes.
okay, through Grow. And where they are going to invest it? I mean, how will they make money? Because, I'm just trying to understand your point that suppose you are a product manager in Grow and now you are giving a data through which, consider I am your one of the, client who is, who has this Grow application. So now I have taken a data from you that, this is the right stock, this will give me some, a great profit. But for that, to get that particular profit, I have to invest, right? I have to invest through some application. Okay. So are you going to give me that facility, or is there another application that I should look for? And okay.
No, no, no. You don't have to go to another application. What I, as a product manager, am going to do is have a team of well-researched uh, business analysts who knows the app, and also an algorithm that understands stocks. So if you know about Binini, Binini is a live tracking system of every app. So whenever you open Binini, it shows what the current trade is. Also, there is a prediction point on the chart where it could show the prediction and what is the surety of percentage of that prediction. So I think designing an algorithm like that that could show similar feature in my app, and also having a team of expertise where I could add a chat, or I could add a broker, like a sign broker system, and I could ask. So every user will be assigned to a broker, just like in real life system you do. So this could be a computer broker, in which is that chart, or it can be a manual broker.
Understood. But again, for, for investment or having that broker, at the end, I have to give my sensitive information.
Yeah.
Okay. So how, as a product manager, you are achieving that trust? Again, we are coming back to the same question.
Okay. So when it comes to stock market, no information is really sensitive because it's not going to stay same after this very minute. Uh, so giving heads up and hints are not actually what I think of as a sensitive information. So giving a prediction of what the stock and how the stock could go is not really a
No,
risk.
no, no. I'm not saying in that way. What I'm trying to understand that, you earlier, what you have mentioned that people have to share their sensitive information when
Yes.
they want to invest. Okay. So now people will lose their trust in the beginning.
Uh,
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to say. Whenever you are trying to give some broker or some, try to introduce some broker in between or any other application, third party application. So as per the government or SEBI rule, it is mandatory to provide your information such as Aadhaar card, PAN card, and all your birth date, all sort of data. Then only you will be able to trade, then only you will be able to invest. So that's my whole point. How will you improve that, since you have mentioned that people are not ready to share their sensitive information?
True. When what Grow Money app asks is what is your income, how much do you earn in a year, and all those information which are not really useful for what task they are about to be doing. So I think giving my Aadhaar card number and giving my PAN card number is not really a big deal. So that doesn't take away my trust, because as a user I do understand that it has to be given. Otherwise, so even in KYCs of wallet like Paytm and etc., you have to give your Aadhaar card. So that information is mandatory. I cannot have an alternative to that. But questions such as how do you earn, how much is your income, what do you expect your earning percentage, what do you expect your broker percentage. So all those questions are not needed. What I could just do is let my customer at first deal with this app, invest in this app, and later on, maybe I could think of growing up my business via so and so, like increasing a little bit of broker percentage or something like that.
Okay, understood. So I have a next question for you. Facebook like feature, right?
Yes.
So how will you measure the success of Facebook likes?
Like how many people are actually using the likes feature?
Yeah.
I think it would be a very simple process, understanding it via analytics or heat map on how many people are actually using it. Another way, if I had to give you a different answer, I could say actually that is the only point that comes to my mind right now via heat map or analytics. But if I would just think more,
Yeah, you can think, take your time.
number of reacts. So basically, like and dislike are a reaction. So how many reacts are
So,
happening?
so there is no such unlike option that we have in Facebook.
Oh, there is an unlike option, right? Like if you triple like or something, it becomes an unlike. Okay, so maybe that is some other app. I'm not so much socially active. How would I? Yeah, analytics is all that comes to my mind, and heat map is all that comes to my mind. I could just put a filter for likes, and there I could see my numbers.
Okay. Anything else?
So the question is that how will I come to know that how many people are using that like feature, right?
Yes. So as you have mentioned that, there is unlike. So let me tell you, unlike is there for pages. So there are multiple pages that are, that you can create on Facebook, you can post ads, or you can do your marketing. Suppose you are running some freelancing business or some coaching institute or anything, so you can have your own page, and there I can get unlike option.
Hmm.
But I'm talking about the like feature that Facebook has. How will you measure its success? All right, shall we proceed?
Yeah, because only social media analysis comes to my mind using tools. Or
Mm-hmm.
I can just do sentiment analysis, which is again a kind of analyze analytic tool that analyzes if emojis are used or if likes or what particular features are used. Uh, so that is one particular thing that comes to my mind. Apart from that, yeah, that is all that comes to my mind for now, unfortunately.
No problem, no problem. So I have another question for you. How will you estimate the number of weddings in India in a year?
How to estimate number of?
So this is a guesstimate question actually. So can you help me understand how many weddings are happening in India in a
Okay,
year?
okay, in a year. Well, if it is an estimation, then should I consider the fact of recent pandemic or just give a generic answer?
Um, so you can consider pandemic. It's
Yeah,
totally up to you.
yeah. So I think in pandemic it was really difficult to track because if it was generic, then I could just uh,
Take an example of generic. I'm absolutely okay with that.
yeah, so collaborating with different venues because people use them a lot. Collaborating with different wedding planners and asking, keeping track of their bookings, keeping track of the venues. If there are people, so there are hardly any people who would do the home wedding. I think in pandemic that was all. It was either home wedding or a court marriage. Yes, of course, collaborating with different census data also for marriages, and then analyzing the number via these places, adding up with these different sources number, and then if it is about estimation, then here we could get our estimation. Accuracy would be a difficult thing to get. So estimation, yeah, estimation could be this. Or analyzing single to marital status converted ratio, like from any government data where a marriage registrar office where everybody, whether you get married in court or home or wherever, you have to have a marriage certificate. So contacting such government data where I could get my estimate on how many people have actually made their wedding certificate.
Okay, so I want number, approximate number. And also I'm curious to understand how you have reached to that conclusion.
Okay. Never thought it could be so tough. How would I reach the number?
Yes.
Well, via a survey, I mean, I really don't know if this could be a very stupid question, a stupid answer, not question, stupid answer. But yeah, I think via surveys and knowing the status change of people, uh, social media gets updated, but not everybody is on social media. So tracking image recognition or you know statuses and everything, so we could get a number. So basically from different places, getting a number and adding up to it, that is.
Okay, all right. Not an issue. So let's move on to our, there will be two more questions for you. Um, can you help me understand? So you like to work in a team, right? This is what I'm assuming. So what kind of people do you like to work with?
Well, I'm open to understanding all categories and different nature of people, but what should be part of their characteristic is they should be ambitious, because giving work for salary would be something that I could get on time, but not the quality wouldn't be there. So I think a person who is very ambitious, hardworking, and who's at the same time very creative. So even though he is a web developer and he's a coder, but unless and until he is not creative, he would just do what is written. And if what the work my senior or whatever the work that has been assigned to him, if it does not look good at that particular point, it would just stop there, or it would just deliver me and then I have to again write out a change. But I think a little bit of decision making himself, like every person should be a leader in himself, a little bit of leadership in himself, critical thinking, at the time when a certain decision or a certain situation goes wrong. So what solution he could also get out from that particular situation also matters. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so consider, you're working as a product manager, and if you came across, if you come across such a person who is not very much creative or skilled, so how will you deal in that situation? How will you deal with that person as a team member?
Well, firstly, I'll understand his nature of working. If it is his nature and his own way, or if there is some other issue, then having a talk, trying to motivate him, giving him a team partner who has that particular quality where he lacks. And when you have a particular company, you inculcate some of those qualities in you, which is it comes naturally. This I would say this quality that he is missing can also be due to lack of experience. So giving him experience where he could get confidence, as well as where he could judge himself and have some better approach to it. So something like that.
Okay, okay. So I understood your point. So with this, we will conclude your interview, and I have, I think, sigh of relief.
No,
So
I know that I have been a disaster, and these questions I haven't heard like anywhere, and I was literally like, oh yeah, what would I do in this situation? So I was like, I was a total
okay,
disaster.
no problem. So let's have your feedback, and post that we will stop the recording and we'll take your questions. Are you okay with this?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we have started with your introduction, that is, your current roles and responsibility. So, well, you have explained it well, but I would like you to articulate it even better. Okay, so in terms of pointers.
I take points, whatever
Sure,
feedback you
sure.
give.
And this recording will stay with you. I mean, Ritik is going to be going to share this with you. So, I mean, okay.
Okay.
So you can take it down, not an
Yes.
issue. Okay. Uh, so along with that, once you're done with your roles and responsibility, maybe one or two pointer you can you take that opportunity to highlight your achievements. Like suppose you have done something extraordinary in your work. Suppose you are right now you're working as a product manager. So considering the timeline, okay, the budget. This is what I mean. You guys are taking care of. So maybe you can highlight that I have completed the budgeting part. I have shadow some senior product manager, and I am a quick learner. I learned something very quickly. Then comes to the the this is budget. Then considering the timeline, sometime we generally due to vacation or a holiday season, sometime we ended up not doing the good planning. Okay, and due to that sometime people they just miss their timelines. But considering all aspects from vacation and holiday perspective, I have planned all the sprint planning or all the activity pretty much well in advance, and that's how I have contributed in my project success. Maybe you can highlight in a very smart way. Okay, then I ask you why PM. So yes, you have given a good answer to that. So one thing I would like to tell you that there is always a conflict of opinion when it comes to CEO of a product manager, because most of the people they call it the product manager is a mini CEO or CEO. But I will share you one article post this interview. So the CEO is somebody who has an authority, okay, and responsibility. But considering product manager, he's not in an authoritative position. Okay, he cannot take those decision unless he's at a very senior level. Okay, so we are at we as a product manager, we always hold a responsibility, or we are responsible for multiple things when it consider when you consider your project or feature or stakeholder management, but we don't have that authority. Okay, so maybe you can take care of that. Otherwise you are good. Then what all efforts that you are taking, so you have explained it really well. I'm totally impressed by that. So you are taking all the efforts that which are necessary. So you have enrolled for the course, and that way you are showing that you are a consistent learner, you are a quick learner. So even though if at all I want to hire you for some project, maybe I will take it as positive, on a positive note, that yes, this person is he or she is, you are a fond of learning, you are fond of taking a good courses when it comes to work. So definitely that's a good point that you have highlighted. Okay, now comes to the functional, or the questionnaires that we had related to wow music. So that was the question was associated to strategy and designing. And whenever you come across such questions, I always always think from the product and vision perspective. Okay, why you are building any product? Is there anything already existing in the system, or are you building something from the scratch? So goals and objectives should be pretty much well defined to you why you are building something. Unless you get that answer, never stop asking why. Keep asking why. Okay. Then comes a customer segmentation. Who all your customers are, why you are building this product. You cannot build music application to 3 years or 5 years old kid, right? So that has to be clear in front of your management, because they are the one who is going to give you this approval. Then comes the value proposition. Value proposition means what? How this product is going to create an impact in terms of vision, who are going to be the actor, what all activities that you are going to conduct, what all constraint whenever you're going to develop this particular feature or application. Okay. Then there is always a gain and pain associated to the customer. Okay. Because suppose, consider your example, you are you have just given me the example of grow. So there are certain features that are beneficial to you, but there are certain pain points that you were facing in the beginning. That's why you switch to grow application rather than using excel. Got it?
Yeah.
So always think from that perspective. Then comes the hypothesis, because you have mentioned about survey, and that's a good point actually. But apart from survey, do you think survey is sufficient enough to launch any application? No,
No.
right? So there has to be certain hypothesis or assumption that you have to make well in advance. And as in when you keep on progressing in your application development or your thinking process, not application development, I'm sorry, but as in when you are gradually moving towards your goal, you just have to understand whatever hypothesis or assumption that you have made, they are correct or not. Okay. Then comes the designing part, design experimentation, where you validate your hypothesis. So
Okay.
there you will conduct surveys, interviews, you will develop one website, or you will develop one single page application, and you will launch it, and you will just create a fake or dummy button over there.
Mm.
Okay, so the number of people who will click to that particular button, through that you will come to know, okay, people are visiting my website, they are hitting this button, that means they are interested. Getting it? And
Mm.
that's how you will slowly and gradually move towards your user story map, and eventually minimum valuable product, that is MVP.
Sure.
So basically, Sonali, this is not the final approach that I have explained. There
Mm.
is, definitely going to be some addition or deletion to this approach. It's totally my understanding. This is how I, understand any particular problem, and this is how I try to solve. So suppose if anything is missing in between, maybe my interviewer or somebody else will guide me. No, no, you must be missing this. But at least I'm putting my analysis, my thinking in a structured manner.
Got
Getting
it.
it? So we have lots of thoughts are going on in our mind whenever any question come, any interviewer ask us any question. So this is the best approach. I mean, you can think, and you can always have some, you can add your own points as well if you want. Okay, then I ask you about the prioritization. So there are certain techniques that we consider,
Okay.
and one of them is Moscow. So have you heard about must have, should have, could have, nice to have? Okay. And why we are doing this? Because based on this, you will come to know what matters to your customer and stakeholders.
Okay.
Then we have a rise.
Word of this. Like maybe I have and I do not remember this, but again, it was Moscow.
Moscow, Moscow.
Okay.
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 So then we have a RICE model, RICE, RICE, reach, impact, confidence, divide by efforts. So it's basically a qualitative way, but most of the time it's very uncertain. And whenever we want to take any customer centric decision, then we use KNO model, KNO. Okay. So maybe, you can search more about this.
Mm.
Okay. Then we had this question of, sure,
Uh, the last one was Kano model.
KNO, yeah, KANO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So then I ask you, if Google Map is going to launch a new version for schools, uh, what design approach it will be there? Okay. Just excuse me for a minute.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So basically, you should always understand the goal behind having this particular new version. Are we going to make any certain changes in the existing one, or are we going to launch a new application? So always ask a clarifying question well in advance, because the problem statement that I have given, it's just a one simple sentence or statement, but you are going to design one MVP out of that, if at all it will be a new feature. So as a product manager, you have to be 100% sure and clear about the problem statement. And till you get that understanding, keep asking clarifying questions. The important questions. Why are we building this? What is the goal behind this? So considering Google Map, why we are having a Google Map? It's purely for navigation, right? So certain things that you have to assume and that you have to clarify with your interviewer. So yeah, I am assuming that the goal behind having this new version is for easy navigation or efficient tracking, considering it is for schools. Then what all users that you are going to have? Those are those who are going to use this application. Then from you have to pick a certain user personas out of that. So suppose there are 5-10 user personas that you have listed down, but not everyone will be on priority considering the problem statement. So you have to pick and choose the important one from that. So here I'm choosing the driver, then school authorities and parents. Kids will be on a low priority, because in we are not giving them a phone. How can you hand over your phone to 5 years or 10 years old kid? Okay, they're not nowadays, though they know everything, but considering the safety and everything, you cannot hand over them a smartphone, right? It's totally up to by their parents or their guardian. So I will pick and choose the important user personas. I will try and understand the use cases perspective in with respect to those user personas. Okay, then I'll try and identify the gaps which are there in the existing application, and I'll try to mitigate that in the new version.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll go to the solution, and then comes to the validation part. So how will you track the success? That was my question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's move on to the next question. It is, what is your favorite product? So whenever you are answering such kind of question, so always try and pick the simple application, okay, which will be easy for you to explain. In and out about that application. You cannot goof around, or you cannot uh, jumble while answering. Otherwise, you are creating a problem for yourself.
Yeah.
So always try and explain the summary of that product, what type of application it is, its look and feel. Okay, and then comes the usefulness, efficiency and innovation. How useful that product is, what problems that it is solving, how efficient it is, what all innovation, like how smartly that product is solving your problem. Okay, so that was the question. Then we had, how will you measure the success of Facebook likes? So there is no right and wrong answer to this, but if you ask me, I will always start explaining from the what is the goal of this particular Facebook like is to drive an engagement. Okay, and then how much richer user insights that I have, that I will come to know through this like. Okay, so how will person go towards like process, liking any particular post or any video? Is like generally we start with scrolling, then we see some video or photo. Suppose we don't have time to comment, we generally use a like. Okay, and that way it gives the positive signal. So this is how I generally proceed towards a like, when I want to like someone else's pic or video. So how will I measure the success metric? Is if I'm posting something, or if a person is posting something, then is a usage of that particular feature is growing. And how will you measure that? Number of likes. Okay, likes per user. Then what all the driving usage of that particular feature is like, what all content that a person is posting, whether it is video, photo, article, web page, or any group. Okay, and also some demographic also comes into picture, like age, geography, time, how much time you're spending on the platform, Getting it? Am I audible?
I'm quite not sure if I understood your side of the story. So basically, how would you go on with this process of measuring the like is to firstly understand what the goal behind the like is. So
Right.
completely understood that point. I understood, it depends on the content as well. And I
Mhm.
understand that it also depends on the age and geography feature, etc.
Right.
What I do not understand is how would you judge what exactly or what spot exactly you have to judge. Like if you ask me about engagement, I could okay, I could see where the engagement is, but engagement are in a lot different form, like in share, in comments. So people don't really like, but they just share the content.
So basically, to answer your question, and if I understood your question correctly, so driving engagement is that, suppose, you are working as a content creator. Okay. And you are creating a humorous videos. Okay. So suppose I am one of your follower, and I started following you, and I started liking your content. So in a way, when I'm going to like your content, eventually my friends will see that. Okay, that I am following such person who is humorous, who is creating humorous content. And that way, you are growing your followers through a
Mm,
chain reaction, right?
mm,
Then the more you're creating a humorous content, and more your reachability will be, different brands and advertisement agency will they will start approaching you. Okay. And
right.
likewise, you will keep on posting for the promotion. You will post your frequency, more frequently you will start posting. Your interaction will be increased on the platform. And since you are posting it frequently, and since I am your follower, I will start engaging with the Facebook application on a frequent basis.
Got
Getting
it.
it? So suppose you are posting twice in a day. That means I will keep an eye on your post. Okay, so Sonali is going to be posting some humorous content. I'm eagerly waiting. So suppose you are going to post at 5 p.m. I
Mm,
will probably start waiting on the platform right from the 4 p.m. And during that time, I will keep spending my time on the platform. I keep liking other contents. And this is how this is what the exact point that I'm trying to explain. How will you increase the user engagement?
mm.
I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then we had how would you estimate the number of weddings happens in India? So basically, this was the guesstimate question. And when we are dealing with the guesstimate question, always ask a clarifying question, no matter what. I want to understand, did you understand this question correctly?
Well, not really. Like I did not understand when you asked me how would you uh, estimate the marriages in India. I was not really sure of how exactly I'm going to calculate
Okay.
that.
So
Yeah.
basically, whenever you are solving a guesstimate question, you have to guess, you have to assume that, suppose I am, I'm going to launch one application. So
Mhm.
how many number of visitors will be there? How can you guesstimate this? So considering this as a problem statement, I will ask clarifying question, because I cannot directly jump on to the problem statement, right? I will think that for what geographic location are you going to launch this application,
Ah,
right? You cannot launch this across world
yeah.
without understanding anything about the other user personas, because considering Indian culture, Indian has some different mentality. They have different liking. And if you consider a European person or a person from US or UK, they might have different liking, right? So this must be your clarifying question. So I have specifically mentioned the number of weddings in India. So when I'm asking about number of weddings in India, what things should come into your mind is population,
Yeah.
right? You should start thinking from a top down approach.
Mm-hmm.
So from population perspective, maybe you can slowly ask about, population means, are we targeting any particular city? No, I am talking about whole India. So in India, how can you split that population, rural, urban? Getting it? So you are just making your process easy, you are reaching towards solution, but making constructive assumptions, and
Okay.
you're assuming certain data. You are just splitting that data into parts in some percentage, and slowly and gradually, based on your understanding, you will create a formula. Like, suppose 50% population lives in urban area, 50% lives in rural area. This is what I am assuming. And based on that, if I'm considering there are 1.2 billion people are staying in India, so I will split them in two parts, like, getting my point.
Yeah.
From that, how many people are getting married? Not all, right? There is
Yeah.
certain age group from rural and urban, so you
True.
have to consider that age group. And this is how, slowly and gradually, you have to go to each and every step and approach your problem. Have your own formula, put all those numbers inside that formula, and give me approximate number. Yes, these many people got married last year in India, and this number can vary considering pandemic or any other situation or anything. Okay, so this is how you should approach the problem. And the last question I asked about, it was behavioral question. So basically what happened, everybody has a different strategy when it comes to answering such questions. But when we are dealing with a behavioral type of question, always remember, as a product manager, as I have mentioned, we are in a responsible position. We should always try and handle our team in a and we should always drive them in a positive direction for the product success. So suppose, you come across such difficult stakeholder, or the person who is not very much skilled or experienced. So it's your, you have to get that work done. Suppose that person belongs to QA or development team. So how will you drive that engagement? How will you build that trust? From that perspective, you should always think, and just keep create a good story, if at all you don't have any real life experience with you, and that way you can portray that information. Okay, so that's the overall feedback I have. So thank you so much, Sonali. Let me stop the recording.